Good evening, good evening, and welcome to season three, episode one of Delayed But Not Denied, the podcast. Tonight, I have the ever so beautiful Miss Farron McLemore as my guest, and we're just gonna chop it up and let the conversation flow. But before we start, I'm gonna go to God in prayer. So, Heavenly Father, we come to you tonight with our heads bowed and our hearts humbled, asking you to be in the midst of the conversation tonight, Father God. Let the hearers receive what is needed to be received tonight. Lord, let one person or let the words and the words of my mouth and the meditation of my heart be accepted in thy sight, my strength and my redeemer. Lord, we're just asking that you be in the midst of the conversation and give the people what they need to receive from this conversation. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Miss Farron, are you there?
I am. How are you?
Fine. How are you, beautiful?
I am wonderful. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you for coming. I know we had initially had a time we were supposed to be together before, but I
The
was having
winner.
a whole lot of technical difficulties. But before we begin, if I could have you to introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you.
Absolutely. So, hello, everybody. I am Farron McLemore, author, advocate, motivational speaker. I am a 2025 Distinguished Authors Guild Ambassador. I was actually a 2024 Distinguished Authors Guild nominee. So, first children's book nominated for an award. Such an amazing, incredible experience. Through my book and my brand, I champion for people with disabilities. I love to inspire self love and encourage others to embrace their differences and love the person that they see in the mirror.
Absolutely. Could you tell us a little bit about your daughter and
Yes.
the disorder that she has?
Yes, my favorite thing to talk about. She's truly, truly, truly our shero. So her name is Kamaya. In the book, she's Maya, because we can also call her that as well. So
Okay.
shining through my journey with incontinency of pigmenty was inspired by her. Because it's such a rare condition and we had no idea what this was. Even the doctors never heard of it. So through research and just, seeing her symptoms and the things that she dealt with in the NICU, believe it or not,
Mhm.
when I had her, I actually already started writing like my experience. First time
Okay.
mom, and all the things that were happening, I just felt led to write it down, not knowing almost 8 years
I'll
later
turn it
that
over.
it would be a book. So
Great.
incontinency of pigmenty, also known as IP, it's a rare skin condition, but it can also affect a number of things depending on your symptoms. So the biggest thing it can affect is your hair. So you can have alopecia from it. The way your nails grow, they can be lined or pitted. The way your teeth grows, you can either have missing teeth or you can have peg-shaped teeth. And it can also affect your central nervous system, which causes developmental delays. You can
Okay.
also have seizures or stroke from it, again, depending on the severity of your
Mhm.
symptoms. So, my daughter, she ended up having a stroke and a seizure in the NICU, which prompted us to do further research. And then, like I said, it's a skin condition. So it's 4 stages. It starts with a swirl, like patches on your skin. And we
Mhm.
noticed that on her skin. Like that was the first thing. And then she ended up having a stroke. And then she ended up having a seizure. So all these things had started happening. And then we literally Googled between us, the neurologist, the genetic doctor, we're Googling these symptoms because we didn't know what was wrong. And
Wow.
then we discovered incontinency of pigmenty, this rare condition that many have not heard of. And again, first time mom, we didn't know. And I'm not
Right.
a carrier. I'm not a carrier. So again, it's just a random mutation that happened for her. The condition is lethal in boys. So
Oh,
if
wow.
did carry the condition and I was pregnant with her, the pregnancy is likely to end in a miscarriage. So now we
Mhm.
do have a son, and so we were pregnant with him. We did the genetic testing at 8 weeks because if
Okay.
he had it, it was a 50-50 chance that he would survive. Thankfully, he did not have the condition, so he's here. But if a mother carries the condition, then of course they would have to have that prenatal care, that
Right.
extensive prenatal care, just to kind of guide her through it. But most likely, pregnancies end in a miscarriage with this condition.
Wow.
Yeah.
Um, I've watched you on a number of podcasts talking about your book and talking about your beautiful daughter. I too was born with a birth defect. I was born with spina bifida and hydrocephalus,
Oh my.
um, which is it's a whole different breed of uh, just just randomness that I have to go through. When you were talking about the side effects and things that she goes through, I lost my teeth due to
Mhm.
no calcium, and my bones didn't support them
Mhm.
due to the spina bifida. And it's considered like a snowflake disorder. No two people have it the same. One of my best friends also has it, but her condition is way different from mine.
Mhm.
Um, and just getting the word out. I salute you as a mom being able to, you know, be a voice for her, and standing up behind her and trying to spread knowledge about what she has going on. I was adopted. And not to say that my mom didn't love me or anything, but just having that person that gave you life to stand by you and
Mhm.
not give up on you means everything. You know what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
salute you for, being her biggest cheerleader.
Thank
And,
you.
so about the book, tell us a little bit about the book.
So again, so I'm coming up on my 1 year anniversary. So March 26th is the 1 year anniversary of this book. During the process, it was probably November of 2023. So
Mhm.
I already had it written. Like I
Okay.
sat here one day and I just had thoughts, right? I just had these thoughts. I'm like, let me just write them down while I have these thoughts. And literally one day I just said, you know what? I want to write a children's book. And I didn't tell everybody because I didn't want people to put their fear on me. And I really,
Right.
really, really wanted, I knew this was something that I wanted to do. So I only told, my handful of people who I knew would support me. And so just researching self publishing companies on my own, I didn't even know there was a
Mhm.
traditional way. I just, I just looked up self publishing companies, came across Ex Libris Publishing, which pretty much had everything I needed, supported my vision, and brought it to life. So I already had it written, went to them, even with the illustrations, it was just my whole thing on how I wanted it to be. I've included my daughter in the entire process because this book
Okay.
is just as hers as it is mine. Because it's her story. She's living it, and I just get to tell it until she understands it enough, to share it herself. So it's important to me, like you mentioned, to advocate for her because one, I need to make sure people understand her when she's around these different people because her comprehension is not um, as it comes as easy as it does for us. So like we're having
Right.
this conversation right now, and there may be a question or there may be something that you ask her, and she just simply might not understand, and that's just the developmental delay part of this condition. Not everybody has it. You can have the condition without the neurological part of it, so you can just deal with the skin, the skin swirl patches, or you can just deal, with the teeth. It's just different for everybody.
Right.
But with her, she just pretty much has it all the way through. So we have so many things set up for her, support system wise. So the book
Mhm.
is just bringing first of all, it's just the introduction to incontinentia pigmenti, and then it's also an introduction to this 8-year-old girl who's in the book who is just teaching, her peers that it's okay to be different, it's okay to look different. And there's affirmations in the book. It's a reference that you can go back to, which I like to call it. It's a reference that you can go back to if you're having that bad day. A few of her affirmations, because we say affirmations daily. It's important for me to build her up and help, either both of my kids, both of my children, we do affirmations daily to build that positive thought pattern. So this book is going to help whoever read it. It's a children's
Okay.
book, but whoever read it, it's going to help in some way.
Okay. Um, how, like, with her going to school, um, is she treated fairly? And I ask this because, with me, I also have that delay, and certain things just don't make sense. And um, in the this year alone, I've accomplished so much that doctors didn't think that I would be able to do. I left a marriage, and I drove myself from South Carolina to Atlanta.
Yes.
Something doctors never said that I would ever be able to do.
Mhm.
Um, I went through, at school, I went through bullying because of how I received things. The one thing I will say, as far as my mom, she was supposed to put me in like special ed classes, or a place just set aside for people, with disabilities or what have you. And she didn't do it. She stuck me in a
Mhm.
regular school, and it has its pros and cons.
Mhm.
Like, I wasn't treated differently by the adults per se, but the kids, they were relentless, and
Mhm.
they picked on me every day, and they did not let up. So I was just curious, what her school situation is like for
Mhm.
her.
Well, first, I'm sorry that you had to go through that. That's one of our biggest um, things that we think about, right? Especially because she just simply don't understand, and she's the most kindest, most natural nurture, and all she wants to do is help. And
Right,
sometimes we think, will people take advantage of her? Will people understand that? Will people notice that she don't understand, and will they just take that and run with it? um so that's where I come in, right? Where
right,
I come in is, I've been to the schools, I read the book to her class, just so they know, like, this is her, and this is how things may be for her. The biggest thing is just making sure that she can identify if that is going on, and those
right,
are conversations we have daily. I you come home from school, how was your day? Like, I don't like asking those questions. I'm asking questions, like, what was your favorite part of the day? What was your least favorite part of the day? It requires her, it challenges her to, think a little bit about, what her response may be. But trust me, there are thoughts where, as a mother, you're like, wait, what? What,
right,
who said what? But I think
right,
the thing is just, helping her identify those situations and what they can look like. And then just communicating with her teachers and, anybody in the school that deals with her, because she has an IEP, and
mhm,
that is for the additional help. So she has speech therapy in school and outside of school. And that's just going to help, try to keep her as close as to where she needs to be. Now, she is capable of learning. It's just she learns by repetition and review.
me
So
too.
it takes her a little bit longer, but she's
Mhm,
very capable. And so, sometimes I think about that. Like, is somebody in class like, hurry up, come on, yeah, those things that we think of. But I think it just starts with us letting her know, like, it's okay to not know the answer. It's
right,
okay to not answer first. It's okay to think about it. It's okay to ask for help. Like, all these things that sometimes kids shy away from. I don't want to ask for help because I don't want to. seem like, as to just making sure that she knows that it is okay. And that's what the book talks about. It is okay. So I want her to be comfortable with that and just not really rely on what other people are doing or other kids are doing, because everybody learns at their own pace anyway. And
Absolutely.
even though hers is a little bit different, I want her to be okay with that. And so that way, when somebody says anything, it wouldn't matter, because we've already, built her up and equipped her that it's okay. So if anybody tried to say anything or make fun of her or whatever, it would just
Mhm.
roll off of her back, because she could be very sensitive at times when it comes to things like friends or people not playing with her, because she just want to be a part. And
Mhm.
I just, it's hard to break it down sometimes. Just let her know, like, you don't have to worry about them. It's okay. Like, play by yourself, just things like that. But at the same time, it's just really equipping her just to let her know, like, and just helping her identify that if that is the case, I want her to be
Mhm.
able to communicate, whether it's to the teacher or whether it's to us, just so we can get a handle. And I love her school because they're so supportive in it, and they
Okay.
just really don't tolerate bullying or anything to that nature. There was a situation that did happen that somebody did try to take advantage of her, but luckily I caught it,
Okay.
took care of it right away. And that's just her being kind. It's just her being kind to her friend, saying, "Hey, can I have?" And she's like, "Here you go." But
Yeah.
it's just making sure that she can identify that is the biggest thing for us.
Yeah.
And I know things are gonna happen, and I can't control everything, but I do try to get in front of as much as I can.
I do understand. The school that I went to was not that great.
Mhm.
So my mom was like at the school every other day, ready to fight somebody's child. She was ready to go toe to toe with somebody and somebody's teacher and whoever.
Yeah.
But growing up, with the disability made making friends hard.
Mhm.
I got picked on for the way that I walk, and I never noticed how I
Mhm.
walked till I was in a wedding,
Mhm.
and we sat down and we watched the videotape after they got back from their honeymoon or whatever. And I looked, and um, the ladies had on heels, and the shoe I had on had like a small heel because I can't walk in heels. Um, And I remember somebody asking me, was I tired or was my shoes hurting my feet or
Mhm.
whatever, because of the way that I walk. And that was the first time I noticed, what my disability looked like on the outside to other people.
Mhm.
And so it made me a little withdrawn. I've had the same three best friends since elementary and junior high. I try to meet new people, but
Mhm.
at the same time, I go through this phase of wondering, are they going to judge me because of the things I have to withstand and deal with from a day to day basis? And then I was told that I would never have children, and I got pregnant as a teenager, and my son will be 30 Friday.
See, I laugh at that because, the doctors told us so many things with our daughter too. And I realized that they have a job to do, right? And
Right.
that's where I had to shift my perspective, right? Doctors, I know
Mhm.
you got a job to do. I know you have to come tell me what it looks like today, right? I know
Mhm.
you have to come tell me what the test results are. I know you have to tell me what her life would be like. But for me, I know that I serve a God who is able to do exceedingly and abundantly, right? Above anything that I can ask and think. And I knew
Absolutely.
that me praying for her even before she even got here, I didn't know this was going to happen, right? Because there was no warning with this condition, but
Right.
I still know that he has his hand on her. And
Right.
I know that, like, the story inspires me, right?
Mhm.
Like, any insecurity or anything that I've ever had, like, I
Mhm.
realized that I have this daughter that now I have to build up, and now I have to make sure that she's confident and that nobody can, tell her just anything. So now it's like, okay, it's a confidence builder for me because these
Right.
affirmations that we're saying, it's not just for my kids. They're for me too. They're for me letting me know that I'm beautiful and I'm capable and, I can overcome. And, and I love it because they beat me saying affirmations now. I can start them and they're beating me with them. And one of them is I'm more than a conqueror. And
Absolutely.
I want them to know that because it's important to know that you can overcome anything regardless if
Right.
the path is different, regardless if it takes you a little bit longer, regardless if somebody got the answer as soon as they hear it and you got to think about it or you got to write it out. You still arrive at the same destination regardless if you get there quicker or you get there later. And so I just think it's important, and kids are cruel. And I know that. I know they can be so cruel, but I think, like I said, it's just important to let them know that they're everybody's situation or living situation is different, and people come to school and to escape and do all these different things, and they might be mean, but at the same time, I don't my kids, they're not you're not going to be mean, you're not going to talk about anybody, you're going to help somebody else embrace their differences just like you do, especially with physical appearance,
Right.
differences. You tend to shy away to the back, right? But
Right.
I want her to shine. Come on in the
Right.
front, baby, and shine.
Mhm.
Regardless of what it may look like, regardless if you're scared. And this is just me being a brand new author. Like every time I come on here, I am terrified only
Yeah.
because I don't care about what I say, but I still
Right.
do it, right? I still do it. And this is just a testament to her. Like, for one, like, I love talking about this. I love educating. I love empowering. I love inspiring. I love being the person that if I can help you through your day by something that I said or a
Right.
message that I've given, that that's all I need. I don't, I don't need anything. I don't need anything from it. But as long as I can help you, love the person who you see, flaws and all, because, we all are different, right? we, regardless if it's physical or a disability, we all are different anyway, right? And
Right.
so I just want, like I said, the biggest thing is help me um,
Mhm.
embrace, all of my differences. It's helped, just our whole, just our entire family. And so our hope is that we're helping other families or anyone else who might be experiencing similar challenges. I know IP is really rare. I don't know too many people with it, but
Right.
but just anything that you're dealing with, it's important to me that this story is going to inspire the next, just to keep
Right.
going, no matter what it looks like. And if I can be that advocate even for, or that voice even for someone else, I'm happy with doing that.
So I found my safe space on Facebook. I found a couple of different groups um, with people that were born with spina bifida or hydrocephalus or both that I could relate to. That I could ask questions and being that they deal with something the same as I have, but not in the same way, it makes a difference. And just having people around you that are willing to lift you up instead of tearing you down because of something you have no control over. Like, I
Mhm.
was terrified when my son started school.
Yeah.
I um I know some of the teenagers that I went to school with were also teenage moms, and my fear was, okay, they're gonna know that he's mine, and they're gonna have their kid pick my kid, because my mind frame tells me that if you're a bully in school, then you turn into one as an adult. Some people change, some people don't.
Right.
And you have to learn to like read the room because people show you who they are, and it's up to us to decipher what it is that we see. And just I'm a grandmother now, so I have you. I have a 4-year-old granddaughter. She goes to school, and I often wonder, what her school experience is like. Of course,
Mhm.
she's in another state. She's in Tennessee, so
Okay.
there's nobody in Tennessee that knows that she's related to me, of course.
Yeah.
But you know, being that that had scarred me so much,
Hmm.
that was something that I carried, and I even told my son when he started school, I was like, "Listen, little boy, I'm gonna need you to go in here and learn
Hmm.
something, make a couple friends if that's what you choose to do. I don't want you picking at nobody." I said, "And more than anything, I don't want your teachers calling me, telling me you did nothing.
Hmm.
What you're told to do." And I had no problems. I don't know if I put fear in him or whatever. He did what I needed him to do. He graduated on time.
That's
Um,
awesome.
he's a productive person in society. He doesn't bother anybody, and I'm thankful because a lot of people, being that I had a disability, there was no way that I could be a teenage mother with a disability and raise a son. So, I'm proud that my son is turning 30 Valentine's Day, and
Look at you overcoming adversity. That is
absolutely,
awesome. I love it. I
I
love,
love
just taking your own experience, and I know sometimes, you know, we can, be a little nervous,
right,
especially when we're not there, right? Because we, as parents, we want to protect our children at all times, and we want people to treat our children how we treat our children, but that doesn't always happen.
right,
And that's why we pray daily, because we want God's protection to shield them from all hurt, harm, and danger, seen and unseen. We pray that, um but ultimately, it's still tough. It's still tough to have those thoughts, but kudos to you because you're overcoming, and that's what I love. I love it. In spite of it being so tough, you still overcame, and that's kudos to you. I'm so glad to hear that, and I'm so glad to hear that even in that tough time, you kept pushing. You keep pushing, and that's what I tell her because she's in the third grade, and I can tell when things are tough on her and it's weighing her down. But because she continues to push, we that's all we look for is progress, right? As long
right,
as we see progress, we're happy with it. Through her tests that she gets, as long as we see, some type, it was better than last year. That's what we
right,
look for. Children with special needs or disability, we can't compare them to anybody else. We can't compare them to anybody's progress. I mean, any kid. I mean, I wouldn't. We didn't compare. I don't think you should compare your kid whether they have a disability or not because they're gonna do things, you know, as they
different.
do things in different times. And so for
Mhm.
us, that's the biggest thing too. We really took that comparison out. You're supposed to be walking at this age, crawling at this age, talk. We knew she was gonna do it, but even if it was delayed, she was still gonna get there. And so we had to take all of that out of our head, and we this is her own journey, this is her own path, and we started, we're on her journey now. So we're not worried about what nobody else is doing. We're not worried about what nobody else is saying, because this is her journey, and we know how we have to do things for her based on her journey. I
Yeah.
can't compare it to someone else's or anything like that. But you mentioned something that I love, and that was the support groups,
Mhm.
because community is super duper important when it
Absolutely.
comes to things like that. And I've said before, we can relate to one thing, and that's just having children, but having children with a disability is another thing. Just
Right.
because, and it depends on the severity of that disability, the things that go through. So I'm into incontinentia pigmentis support groups on Facebook, and I get it. Like, I'm not dealing with it personally, but just to
Mhm.
be able to ask those questions, just to be able to speak to someone who you can relate to,
Mhm.
and then just to see the stories. Of course, the heartbreaking stories, because like I mentioned, it is lethal in boys, so you do you can see that in the ultrasound. So just seeing those stories, of the mothers that are getting ready to miscarry because of it, it's
Mhm.
heartbreaking. It's so heartbreaking, to see. And of course, I'm always, lifting them up in prayer just because it's such a 50-50 chance,
Mhm.
um, with it. And women survive it because it's an X-linked dominant condition.
Okay.
So because
Okay.
we have two X chromosomes, we have one that compensates the other. So we
Okay.
live a pretty normal life with it. Now boys can survive with it. They can, but usually
Mhm.
they have it more severely. So my
Okay.
daughter also wears glasses because her retinas, they were pale when she was born. And so she
Okay.
wears glasses. So she's like, I wouldn't say severely nearsighted, but one of her eyes is, worse than the other. So she's nearsighted, but that's another thing we have to watch. So there's so many different things that we have to look out for with this condition based on, the severity that you have it. But, she'll be 10 in May. So
Mhm.
just listen, those 10 years that I feel like, we can do anything now. Like, we can do anything
Absolutely.
that we, have gotten it. But it's just that whole part of, learning your kid, whether they have
Right.
a disability or not, learning what she needs, learning how we can help support her, learning what we need to put in place just to make sure she's comfortable everywhere she go. My family has been amazing just with learning the condition and how to help support. And then, like I
Mhm.
said, her school, phenomenal too. Everybody, the teachers, the staff there, they're all phenomenal with it. So, I couldn't be more grateful just for the people that are surrounding us. And then, even, just, of course, the crew podcast for letting me come on. We're family now. I almost done been on all y'all podcasts.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But I
You're
love getting on and
part of
sharing because it first of all I love the conversation,
it.
but just to be able to come and share and advocate, and it's just something that I can talk about all day long, whether it's this or whether it's just something positive or just uplifting or anything like that. It's just what I've always loved to do. So
Well, are you planning to do like a follow-up book to that book?
I am so. So I do want to do a series, hence the title Shining Through My Journey, right? Because it's a journey. It's gonna be updates all the time. So there is gonna be a series. What I'm currently working on though is the story from my perspective. So
Okay.
that's going to be coming out here in a few months, and it's actually a collaboration project, which is my first collaboration project. I'm super duper excited about, because I have other mothers coming in who have children with disabilities.
So
So,
you're doing like an anthology?
huh?
You're doing like an anthology?
Something like that.
Okay.
They're all going to share their stories, and we're going to collaborate and just talk about our experience from birth to now.
Okay.
So you're gonna get that insight, that deep, deep insight of just all the things that we felt, thought, everything. So I can't wait to share that piece. And then, of course, after that, there is going to be a series because this condition changes all the time. And I know
Okay.
people's going to want to update because, like I said, this was an introduction to it. But as
Mhm.
she grows, everything's gonna look different for her. Like puberty, that's gonna look different for her. Um,
Mhm.
because I learned that if you have seizures, like your menstrual is different, and I didn't
Yeah.
know that. So, all these different things that I have to still learn as she continued to grow, because she started hitting puberty at like 7. Like
Yeah.
things started to change at like 7, and we're like, okay. So then of course we have to have those talks, right? Because she learned
Right.
repetition and review. So now
Mhm.
it's constantly saying, hey, this is what's gonna happen,
Mhm.
okay? But don't be scared when it happens. When this happens, tell a teacher or your nurse at school. So it's that kind of conversation, right? So it's like I
Right.
have to break it down to her and say, when this happens, you do this. And then
Mhm.
there, of course, it's like, so you remember what I said? Like, what's going to happen? Or who do
Mhm.
you tell? So it's that type of thing because we go over it and we go over it. Because if we keep going over it, then I know that Um,
Yes.
and then I can help, because I don't know. I mean, when she's gonna, start, but I still want to prepare her as much as I can. And I know for me, sometimes it feel like it's the information overload because her mindset, right? But at
Right.
the same time, like when I hear her play and when I hear her just be, like I can hear her like imitating what I'm saying or what I'm doing.
Okay.
So I'm like, she got it. Because she anything
Yeah.
that she does, like she plays and she plays that. And so you can hear and when she understands things, so it's like all these different kind of conversations. Like you said, you want to prepare them as much as you can. Um, and then it's just a constant conversation. It's like, hey, what do you do in this situation? What do you do when somebody say, because we learned like a couple situations that happened, we realized she just didn't know how to respond. She didn't
Right.
know what to say. And so so she reacts, right? Instead of saying something, sometimes she reacts. Sometimes she'll say something. I guess it just depends on what it is. But I'll get a call from the school because she reacted. And of course,
Mm-hmm.
they know, right? They know that she doesn't mean any harm or anything like that. But the conversation when she comes home is, hey, if somebody said this, you can say this. If somebody
Mm-hmm.
said this, you can do this. So it's just those ideas that for the next time this comes up or the next time this may possibly happen, I just want you to know how, you can handle it, differently. So it's just all these conversations that we, are constantly having, just to make sure she understands. And usually she does. You can tell when she doesn't because she'll look like, huh?
Yeah.
But and that's just a part of us learning how to reword things in a way that she understands. And then we had to notify the teacher too. Like you probably can't just go to her and say certain things. You have to reword it in a way that she understands.
Have you ever thought about starting your own support group?
You know what? I have. I
Okay.
have. I've thought about it, but then I got to think about a name, all the different things. But I would love to do that. I would
I
love
can.
to do that, just because, even in this project, um, one of the mothers have autistic children. And
Mm,
she, just writing her part and just the support. She's like, I never had that before. I never
right.
had anybody who understood. And I think that's the biggest part of collaborating and having that community. I understand that reliving this can be
Hmm.
emotional. I understand that reliving this can be traumatizing. I understand that reliving this can be heartbreaking, just depending on where you are in your journey. And trust me, sometimes I sit back and I look at her and I'm like, okay, God, like sometimes this is tough. It's tough just watching this bright little girl, you know, have to deal with this, but at the same time, it's like, I get to help her navigate it. I get to help
Right.
her navigate through this, so she's gonna be okay. I tell people all the time. I tell my husband all the time. She's gonna be a genius. I'm speaking
And
it now because she's going to be a genius. I see her and I see how bright she is, and I'm speaking it. I know that she'll be a genius, and I can't wait to just to see it, just to see her continue to unfold, just to see her continue to she's just finally getting into things. Like, so my son, he likes t-ball in the summer, and
mm,
I'm like, well, what do you want to do? And she's like, I don't know. So she's in the choir now at school, where she loves music. She's been my music baby from the beginning. So just to see her thrive in that at the concerts and stuff, I love seeing her, really dig into things that she loves. And then she's gonna do this girls group where they're just kind of, teach those, concepts. They're gonna, so like you said, just making those friends who genuinely care about you, who's genuinely gonna support you, who's gonna be okay that you're different,
right.
not make fun of it, and not and
And not
so that's
being
my
bad
hope
for being
too.
different.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's my hope too,
Vita,
that she finds that support, because we all need it.
yeah, Travita has been my best friend since we were 12.
Oh,
And um
hey, Travita.
said we're family. She said y'all been family since day one.
Yes. I told her y'all
But
got rid of me.
right. And, just being able to find that person, like that friend that sees you
Mhm.
and not your disability, the
Yes.
person that can love you in spite of, and
Yes.
just having friends, whether it's Travita or Dee Dee or whomever,
Mhm.
in my circle that loves me for me and not in a sense of feeling sorry for me
Mhm.
or whatever, because I've come to a place where feeling sorry for myself is no longer allowed. I've made it this far. Everything that was designed to hinder me or take me out, God said no. So
Right.
able to accomplish things. I wasn't, according to doctors and man, I
Mhm.
wasn't supposed to have a kid. I wasn't gonna make it past 9 years old.
Mhm.
Um, like when my parents adopted me, they were already planning my funeral because
Wow.
doctors said I wouldn't make it. Um, but here I am, just turned 46,
Look, but
and
God.
but God, and
Listen.
nobody could have done it but Him.
Mhm.
And that is why I titled my show "Delayed but Not Denied." Also, the title of my first book, because you'll arrive on the time you're supposed to,
Absolutely. Yes.
and you know, I'm in awe of your situation and just hearing you talk about your daughter and seeing, just seeing your Facebook page and you sharing things and, just learning from you. And that's why I was asking if you planned on starting your own support group, because I feel like it would be very beneficial. Somebody out there needs you, needs that book, and needs to know, it's okay. And every day is not going to be sunshine and rainbows, but you get through it
Yeah.
and you get through it with your head up. So I applaud you. I stand beside you. And if there's ever anything that I can do to help you push through with your journey with this, with your daughter, please feel free to reach out. Let me know, and I'm on board to do whatever it is. Because I know that she is going to be an amazing young lady,
Thank
because she has an amazing mom.
you.
So, you know, um, but not to keep you too long. If someone wants to reach out to you to order your books, how would they go about reaching you?
Yeah, so FarronMcLemore.com. So that is my first name, last name.com. You can purchase there. That is directly from the publisher. The
Mhm.
book is also available on Amazon and Barnes and Nobles. I tell
Okay.
people to search by my name just because the title is so long. But if
Right.
you search by my name on Amazon, the book will come up, and also Barnes and Noble. A personal copy. My favorite thing to do is a personal copy. So if you want a personal copy, author Farron McLemore is my page on Facebook, or my personal page, just Farron McLemore. You can inbox
Mhm.
me. Kamaya
Okay.
also signs books with me because, again, this is just her book, just as much as mine. So we love
Right.
to read that inspirational message. I sign and then she signs, just because it's her story and journey too. So either way, is perfect for me. I appreciate the love. I appreciate the support. It means everything to me, just being able to uplift someone and just share the story. Like I said, I could talk about it all day. So it's nice. But again, like I said, kudos to you too, just for overcoming, just for standing up, and something that you said. You don't let yourself, you know, be down. I don't either. A lot of people that have come around me, like if you can't, not too long. Like you don't have too long to be down, because it can be worse, right? It can always be worse. It's okay to have a bad day, right?
That was
But
the mindset I
how
had.
long
Yeah.
are you going to be in that bad day? Because
Right.
some people, don't go down that rabbit hole, right? Stay,
Right.
stay up here. But, it's just something that I'm always just trying to, even with my children, just to keep going and just keep as positive as possible, especially with everything that's going on around us anyway.
Right.
Important just to keep that positive thought process.
Me and Travita joke a lot. As far as like when I have my moments where I just feel like throwing in the towel, she throws it back and says, And she was like, you know what? If you need a pity party, you go on ahead. You have your little pity party,
Mhm.
do get it all out. And she was like, and then we gonna get over this.
Right.
Like Travita's my mama. So
And you need friends like that, though. You need friends who are going to, they're gonna let you have that moment, but they're also not gonna let you stay there long. And I think
right.
that's important, to have that friendship. And that's my prayer, even for Kamaya, just to get those two or three
What
good friends that's gonna support you and have your back and advocate for you if they need to in the situation. You know what I mean? And
absolutely,
so hopefully that's my prayer for her too, is that, but as long as God have me here, I'm gonna
absolutely,
be right there
absolutely.
every moment. Hey, I tell people all the time, like, what you say? Like, I don't play about these two at
Right.
all. And even my son, he doesn't have, anything, a disability at all, but he's just a boy, just being a boy. But
What's
their relationship is great. They're 4 years apart. He stands up for her. If I'm saying something to her, why are you talking to my sister like that? I be like,
who you talking to?
he's 5, and that's how he
Oh wow.
5 going on 13 because he protects her like none other. I said, okay, little big brother, okay. And I love that because now, I know that he can understand it quicker than she can. So if it's something, he either can tell it or,
Right.
he can get the information to me
As
quicker
they
than.
get older, their bond will strengthen, and
Mhm.
nobody will be able to play in her face about nothing because he's not gonna go for it.
He's not standing a chance. Even here, I'm like, who gonna fight me? Who you gonna tell? Then he can say, I'm gonna tell my daddy. Okay, go ahead.
Right.
Chances are he's gonna side with me anyway. So, but no, it's been such a rewarding journey. A lot of people ask me like, how are you like this? It's just for one prayer. If it wasn't for my faith and my prayer life, I don't know where I would be,
Right.
honestly, because this type of situation or this type of condition, it could take you there. It can have you thinking all types of things, and then being a first time mom, now I'm questioning myself. you know,
Right.
I'm wanting to know what, but at the same time, I know that God will never put more on me than I can bear. And I know that even when I was writing back in 2015, I did not know that it was preparing me for 2024 to release my first book on the very thing that I was writing.
Right.
So, the things, everything that happens in our life, I know that it's for a reason, and I know that nothing happens by chance. So it's a blessing just to be able to, live it. It's a blessing to be able to share it. It's a blessing to be able to encourage, uplift, and just let somebody know to hang in there and that there is light. There's always light at the end of the tunnel. Just keep going.
Absolutely. If anybody else from the Crew Podcast would like to have you on their show, how can they reach you?
So Farron McLemore at yahoo.com is my email.
Okay.
Or just a message on Facebook. I'm always on there. Being the ambassador for Distinguished Authors Guild. If you're an author, submit your book. Any new books coming out, any old books that you have, submit them. Submit them for a chance to be nominated. Not being nominated last year, the award show, phenomenal. It was such an unforgettable experience. For one, the
Right.
connections are great. You just get around like-minded people, and you just get to share. You get the support is amazing. And it's just all about you. It's all about you. So if you have an award-winning book, submit it. I'll be submitting my upcoming book in hopes to be a nominee. But an ambassador is great for me because I get to tell y'all about it all. I get to share my experience, and I
Right.
get to, I get to share. But it's amazing. It's definitely something that I am glad that I stepped into, not knowing what it was going to be like, but I stepped into because of the support, mainly for the like minded people, even the aspiring authors to watch. I love that because, again, it's the connection. Miss Angela, the sweetest. Y'all are just the sweetest.
Thank you.
This most,
Yes,
y'all are the sweetest, and I love it. I love just being connected to y'all. So it's an incredible journey. Like I'm happy to be here. Like it took me a long time to like I'm an author. What? Like people
right.
would, oh, you wrote a book, and literally like being in the Distinguished Authors Guild, they address you that way, Author Farron, Author Macklemore. So it's like putting that respect on your name, and you're like, okay, I am an author.
You
Um,
earned.
and so, yeah, and so that's the thing, just knowing that you earned it, and that's who you are. So it took me a little bit, but now I wear it proudly, just to be able to share it. So yeah, it's been great.
I look forward to having you on my show again.
Back.
Greater is coming, and it's 2025 is going to be the storefront for what's coming next, and your next will always be greater than your last. So just be
Mhm.
and have your heart and hands and your mind ready for whatever God has for you to grow you and to step you out even further where He needs you to be to really get this thing going because people need to know, you know,
Mhm.
what this is and how to navigate life through it. A lot of people never knew what spina bifida was, and I used to get so mad because I was like, "How did God give me something that nobody else?
Nobody knows. I know. Yeah.
What did I do? I was not in line for the pick me." But just being able to be in a space where you can find people that are willing to listen,
Mhm.
who are willing to empower you, lift you up, um, and support you in any way. Like I never knew the Spina Bifida had an awareness month until I joined the groups on Facebook, and because it's in the same month as breast cancer awareness and things like that, a lot of people don't, they don't know what it is. And so
Mhm.
every year or so, I have my sister-in-law to design a T-shirt,
Yeah.
and we sell them so that people can learn, and if they don't know, they can ask questions. And you know, I don't have all the answers about spina bifida because my parents, when they adopted me, I think all my mom took in was keep her safe, keep her fed, keep her clothed, and
Mhm.
they did. Like my mom, she didn't want me to do anything because I was this fragile being that was gonna break if you look at me wrong, and
Mhm.
so, that kinda hindered me,
Mhm.
in my growth as a woman, just growing up not knowing certain things that most people my age wouldn't know, and, even, like, down to driving, doctors said that I shouldn't do it, and here I am going from one state to another, like,
State to state.
listen, I get in that little blue car and take off.
I love
Yeah,
it. Our journeys are literally, and I tell people all the time, sometimes our journey is not just for us, it's for others. It's for
right,
others to see you that you can overcome. It's for others to see that it's tough and it might be tough right now, but you can make it.
right,
You can, if your mind, it is a mindset, right? You have to be able to shift
mhm,
that mindset, just to get you through. But I know that our story, it wasn't just for us.
Right.
that it was for, those around me. And I love that. Like I said, since I was a little girl, I've always been that way. And it's just funny how God aligns things, because you wonder why certain things happen to you in your
Absolutely.
childhood or even adulthood, and it's all for the purpose, right? Because for the He knows the plan, right? What He
Absolutely.
has for our lives. And so I love to see it unfold, right? And it just, when I sit and think, and I'm like, that's why you did, that's why this happened. Not question him or anything, but at the same time, sometimes you want to know why, like
Sometimes it
why
just doesn't make sense.
why
Yeah.
you pick her, like, and then I'm not a carrier, so it's like, it's just questions, like I don't carry it, so I couldn't pass it to her. It's
Hmm.
very rare for a dad to pass it to their female offspring, because it is a X-linked dominant um,
Right.
condition. So it's very hard to, these thoughts. And without, her genetic doctor and neurologist, we wouldn't have the information. And then writing this book, inspired me. Like, I have to know now, because I have to tell people. So now I
Right.
have to do my own research, and I have to figure out, what's this, how this is. And I think I posted a video probably a couple months ago, just like the beginning stages of it, kind of till now, which just kind of shows her skin and stuff like that. And of
Mhm.
course, people, no, I'm not nervous to show it, because if it can help somebody,
Right.
if it can help somebody, this is what it's going to look like. Because you can have the skin part of it again, but not have the neurological part of it. And if your skin's like that, then you might not know what's going on, and you could have it, and not know. And so a lot of people thought she had eczema, which she did have a form of eczema, but the biggest part of it was the incontinency of pigmenty, that we had to learn about. But we get
How,
this chance to.
how long did it take you to learn to pronounce that?
Oh my goodness. It took a while. I used to call it, but you know what? I looked it up. So a
Mhm.
lot of people call it incontinentia, which
Mhm.
I guess that's the way you can say it.
Mhm.
Incontinentia. Like, I guess there's a couple ways you can say it, but I just tell people just say IP, because because it can be, but when I say incontinentia pigmenty, it spikes. Like, what is that? Um,
Yeah.
I mean, IP can spike it too, but when people look at the title, I know there's going to be like,
What
okay,
is that? Yeah.
what is that? What, and so, but, even looking at the title, this book is going to inspire you. It's going to inspire you. It's going to be that reminder. You can go back. There's affirmations in there. There is a page that breaks it down, telling you what is okay, because we want you to be comfortable, in your own skin. And hopefully one of those it is okay is gonna, it's something you've dealt with, or something you're dealing with, or something, but just letting you know that it's okay.
Right.
Because it's important for me not to, I don't want her to be ashamed of nothing.
Right.
I don't care if it's a patch, a scar. I don't care. I don't want her to. We didn't hide her. We didn't let her, cover her legs up in the summer. I mean, these went to blisters. Okay, like full blown blisters. And we didn't hide them, because one, I'm not gonna have my baby hot in the summer, because you know.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so I would much rather people say, "Hey, what's going on?" than to
Right.
just stare or look. I love to share about it. I love
Yeah.
to say, it's a rare skin condition, because it started out with swirl patches, but then it went to blisters and rashes, and we just kept those. Just by some moisturizer and lotion. Went to a dermatologist, who gave us a really good, moisturizing lotion that helped those, and then they went away. And even in her 10-year-old, so sometimes they'll pop up, and then they'll go away. So I feel like, how you, when you have your newborn baby, you constantly looking over their body, making sure they ain't got no. That's what I have to do with her, because they come and go. I need to make sure that there's nothing that's too, that popped up, that's, too sore, or, so it's all these different things that we have to do just to make sure that, everything is developing and looking how it should look.
Well, Miss Farron, I thank you so much for coming on tonight and sharing about your journey and your beautiful daughter and your book and just being a light to somebody that may not suffer from the condition, but may be curious about it or know somebody that has it,
Mhm.
just being that person that they can see and see that it's okay and life still can be lived in abundance, you
Yes.
know. So I appreciate you. I would love to have you to come back and talk some more because look, I done made it to the hour mark and Miss Angela she gonna have my head in a minute.
We
So
don't want that.
um
We don't want that.
we don't want that. But I thank you. I appreciate you so much.
You're
And we'll definitely be keeping in touch.
Absolutely. Well, thank you again for having me. You keep shining too. You keep
Thank
overcoming. Don't let nobody, nothing dim your light. Okay. You keep shining because, your story, your journey needs to be seen and heard too. So I applaud you. I am
thank
super, super proud of you as well. Just keep going. I love to see that. So thank you so much for having me. I can't wait to come back again.
thank you. Thank you to my guests. And thank you for the audience for watching. I will be back on February 28th with episode 2 for season 3. And as I always say, you may be delayed, but what God has for you will never be denied unto you. So until next time, have a nice night.
Bye.